Hello, and here we are again. Now I am in my little in the house studio area. This is where I do a lot of video editing and things like that, and recently I've upgraded my iMac here. There it is. This is a 2015 iMac. I've upgraded it years ago with a 2 terabyte hard drive, SSD hard drive that is to say, and it's been performing really well. It's still an absolutely fabulous machine really, but I am noticing now just how slow it's getting when I try to do more intense things, and the more I try to do video work and this kind of thing, the more it's really showing, especially when it comes to rendering videos and keeping up, even in proxy mode, keeping up with the operational movement of videos and things like that is becoming a bit of a problem. So I decided to invest in another machine here. So this here is the Mac Mini. This is the M4 Pro. I was a bit undecided, but the M4 Pro chip does seem to have a bit of the edge, and I didn't really want to go and spend the extra £700 or so to get the Studio Mac, which is the main, the larger version of this. Although I have to say, if you are thinking about upgrading to a Mac like this, if you are going to do very intensive video work, the Mac Mini only comes in 2 storage sizes, either 512 gigabytes or it comes as a 1 terabyte. Now you can't change that later on, you have to buy it in one size or the other. That's and I must admit, I kind of wish I'd gone for the terabyte version now. I don't know if the store had it. The sales Apple guy was he didn't really I think he was trying to get me on really onto the 512 gigabyte one, strangely enough, saying that's ample for what you want to do. But the trouble is, once you start storing any amount of video on that, you very, very quickly run out of space. And I discovered that all of the DaVinci cached clips that I was generating ended up taking up a huge wad of space. Plus I forgot that I had a load of videos from a previous video editing tool as well. So I have cleared out most of it, but I'm still very concerned now about using that storage space. So underneath this, I'm just going to pan you down a bit. Underneath this, there is one of these little bases that you can buy for the Mac Mini, and this one is by Satechi, but it has a number of front side things, including a SD slot and 3 USB-A connections. Round the back it just has the connection to a USB-C port, or Thunderbolt port on the back of here, and it's working. That's working fine, because what I've got in here is a 2 terabyte NVMe style, M2 style memory chip, and that's working really well. I've basically pointed my DaVinci library at that, and it works. It still renders very quickly and works with that through the USB-C connection very quickly. It's like you've basically got storage on board the machine. So pretty happy with that. Now I also invested eventually in the studio monitor, but I don't see why I shouldn't be able to use this monitor as well on other occasions, because this is still a beautiful retina screen. Why the hell not make use of that at other times? You can hear my grandfather clock going on in the background, by the way, and possibly my wife having a very animated conversation with my stepdaughter. I love making videos indoors. Anyway, now the reason I'm telling you about all this about this monitor is, as we know, as you may know, Apple do not make it easy for these two things to talk to each other. You cannot just plug in an old iMac and use it as a screen. Now, about 2009, early 2009, and so on, there was a time when you could do just that. You could plug in one of the earlier, I think, Thunderbolt connectors. I sometimes get confused over which type is which, but you could plug in one of the earlier high-speed connector types. I even had the lead for this, and use the other machine as a secondary monitor. I've never managed to make that work. I've had various early Apples, and none of them actually seem to want to talk to each other like that. In my whole view of Apple, their main problem is communicating with anything else that's not Apple and is not current Apple as well. You know, I've had issues, resolved issues, but issues connecting to printers, and like I say, it's been fun trying to get these two to talk. Anyway, then I discovered this device. This is the Astropad Luna Display, and this little unit here is a little USB-C dongle. I'll just take the box off and I'll show you. I do love how to tighten those down. Right, there's a little card in here that just directs you to their website. There's there you go, and there it is. So this little tiny thing here, which is basically about the same size as my thumbnail, plugged into the back of the Mac Mini, the primary PC, will allow these two things to talk to each other. Now, exactly what's going on inside here? Clearly, there is some very clever stuff going on here. Haven't a clue. I do know that if you plug this in and you run the software, that the two devices can connect, and I can actually get a secondary display. So if you're having issues and you want to use an older iMac as a secondary display, this iPad Luna, it can work with iPads actually, it can work with iPads as well. It allegedly works with Windows, though my Windows 10 laptop, I've had issues making it work with that, but maybe it's because it's an older Windows 10 laptop. Anyway, I am going to plug this into the Mac Mini. Got a spare USB-C slot somewhere back here. Oh, and if I don't get my elbow all over the studio display, there we go. Plug it in like so. Oh, I just heard that connecting there. Let's just put that all back as it was and align my display back up. There we go. Okay. So, come away from that. Okay. Let's just allow that to work. So there we go. I've got. I'm just going to take this off the cradle because you're not going to see it any other way than if I actually show it to you on here. So you've got this that says open Luna Display on your iPad or secondary Mac. And if I just come over to here and if I can just get that working, here we go. That a little icon down there for the secondary Luna Display. Ready to become a display, it says. That, and hey presto, I have an enabled. Now you'll see what's going on over here. I've now enabled the display. And if I just go, I need to change the alignment here. And now I can flip, I hope you can see that, I can actually flip my mouse from one side to the other, and that is enabled at retina resolution. Isn't that amazing? Now, let me just put you back on the cradle here that I was using. There we go, I'll try and edit some of these little things out here. There we go. Right. So here it is. Now obviously the Luna display on the Mac itself, the main Mac is running high resolution, and being a studio display, it's got the speakers built in and everything, and it obviously designed to work very quickly, easily with the Mac Mini. That's, I would say it's the only display you're probably going to be fully satisfied with if you buy a Mac device like this. I'm giving up on buying iMacs because I just think it's such a shame that when you throw this away, if you don't want to use it anymore, or you sell it, you have to sell off a screen with it. But this is working beautifully, and obviously if I upgrade the machine at any point, then that's going to be fine. You know, I might, if I ever upgrade it to a studio machine, well, I don't see myself doing that really, no time soon. But there you go. I can now run. So let's run it up. Let's get DaVinci up here. And I can move this across to the other side here, just like that. And I could start a project. Just going to create a project here. Oh, it's gone over there, but I could quickly move that to this side if I want to, like so. And having used this before, I can tell you that it will actually quite happily play the video on there without much, if any, issues around the around the actual quality that you're getting. So, which I found very impressive. So there you go. I'll just quit out of there. When you're finished, you can close this. It says peer-to-peer via Wi-Fi. That's actually working via Wi-Fi, would you believe? But there's no reason. Oh no, peer-to-peer. There you go. It's going via Ethernet. But there's no reason. You can use a USB-C cable for this. If you've got enough USB-C ports, you can plug a USB-A to USB-C cable between these two, and it will work at the maximum speed. But even if you're using it for, say, Photoshop or DaVinci, if you just want to put additional resources, web pages, other things you want open while you're working on your project, or in Photoshop you could have Bridge open here and you could have Photoshop open here, then this is just awesome. It's making it possible to have a very comprehensive, powerful setup, all for a tiny little device. Now this cost just under £80 UK, and the software works really well. Like I say, I had a bit of an issue with. I've got an old, slightly cranky Windows 10 PC that I use for work, which is, I've tried using it and I didn't have any luck trying to get it to connect. I think the issue there is about the standard of the ports or something. It's not really up to the job. But if you're doing it with a modern Apple and you want to talk to an iMac, 80 quid and you've got yourself another retina screen. Isn't that fantastic? So there you go. I hope that's been interesting. Remember this, so this is the Astropad Luna, and if you go to www.lunadisplay.com, you can find out all about this, and if it suits your purposes, nice one. So thanks for watching. It's always good to get a few things I promised to do out of the door when I get a chance. And I think next time it'll either be another drone video. I'm going to be actually setting up the Neo 2 and flying that for a bit, so no doubt I'll be having a look at that. And also there'll be more developments on the song and more synth stuff coming up soon. So thanks for subscribing. If you subscribe to me, thank you very much. I don't have many subscribers, but I certainly value every single one of you. Thank you so much. And to those people who haven't subscribed, please feel free. You've got nothing to lose, and you never know, it might prove to be interesting. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.